Welcome back. So the sun is coming up on a new day, and today I'm going to be working on the desert temple. I've got to compress this down to fit in our 16 by 16 by 16 chunk space. And what you see here in front of me is a temple that I've grabbed out of a vanilla world I generated and copied it over to this blank world. I've then world edited out all the blocks underneath, so the stone and dirt that was under here, and the sand that was on the side, because we didn't need that. Just so I can see exactly what the temple looks like and how I'm going to go about shrinking it. The first observation I've got is that it's 21 blocks across from this side to this side, and it's 25 blocks from top to bottom. Now some of that doesn't matter because the base of the temple is going to be hidden underground, and it's only really this bit of the temple, the ground level and up, that we need to be visible on the top of our chunk. So I'm going to go ahead and world edit in a blank chunk and put it here in front of the desert temple so we can work on it. I'm going to pick out the blocks that I need, and then we're going to come back and take a tour of this and talk about what kind of features we want to capture. Okay, so we're back in, and I've world edited in our chunk here. It's our 16 by 16 by 16 block space. I'm going to pop down a little bridge in front of the temple, and then we'll run in and take a look. So here's our doorway. We go through that, and we're into a large atrium. We've got 4 pillars in front of us here, a nice little design on the floor, and a skylight up above. On the left hand side we've got a little passageway that runs the full length of the temple down here, and these little creeper face pillars. At the back we have another open space here, and this little ridge that runs underneath all the way around. On the right hand side we've got another little passageway here, and again the creeper face pillars. But the passageway stops about halfway down. I don't know if that's just the case in this temple or whether that's the same in all of them, but that's worth noting. We can see a second level up here. Let's go for that now. So if we turned left immediately we came in, or to the right, we can see these 2 sets of stairs, and we can run up inside the towers we saw from the front earlier. And here's the little wall design. Let's go up onto the roof. We've got a little pyramid here, and if we hop up we can see the skylight and look down to where we were before. Here's that second level again. Let's go and look at that now. We can run in through this door, around the side on the inside. Again, we're inside the little pyramid here, and then out on the other side. And actually, back down these stairs, and back out to the front of the temple. There is one thing I've missed, which we need to go back and look at, which is the drop shaft here. So let's bash that piece of wool out and fall down. We'll have a look. And fortunately, I already took the TNT out and I replaced it with red wool. You can see that on my bar as well. And we've got a couple of chests here with different items in. We've got creeper faces again, set back a block from the chest, and a ring of smooth sandstone around the top. I think that's the key features we want to try and capture. So we've seen all of those now. I'm going to head back out of the building, have a think about how I'm going to put that in this space, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've had a bit more of a think, and what I want to make sure with this build, as I mentioned in the stronghold, was that it needs to be a really usable space for players. It's going to be a PvP environment. I need them to have a fun experience and to feel like they can run around it without it being too onerous or difficult. And for that reason I want at least a 2 wide path here alongside the temple we build, so they can run along, turn a corner, and it's not too difficult. If it's 1 wide, I think it's more challenging for a player. It's not particularly difficult to stay on a 1 wide path, mind you, but it's a little bit tight, and I'd rather avoid that. I don't think that'll be a fun experience for people if they just go falling off the world because they're on a 1 wide path. That presents a problem, because this is already 21 blocks wide, and we've got to fit it into a 16 block space. But we're now saying we want an additional 2 blocks on either side, which takes another 4 blocks off this. So we're actually going to fit this into a 12 block space. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off, which should be here for one corner, and here for the other corner, 2 blocks in from the side. So these are our corners, and these are going to represent the outside corners of these 2 towers. Let's go ahead and put down what I think will be the towers. I think we can fit a 3x3 in here. Normally it would be a 5x5. And if we put a 3x3 in on each side, we can see we've got a 6 block space in the middle, which is about twice the size of the towers. And this space here is about twice the size of one of the towers, so that's good. Let's pull these towers up to a good height. I'm going to leave a space in the middle for now, so we can try and represent the orange wool symbol. But if we pull these up to the top, maybe about that high, and then we'll try and design this in the center. So I think if I put down 2 wool blocks at the base here to represent this bottom 2/3 of the symbol, and then I want a space between this block here, I'm going to use the chiseled sandstone, this little creeper face here, pop that in there, and then another block of wool here to represent the top of the symbol, which I think is quite nice. I'll cap it off with smooth sandstone there, like that, and then we'll run this normal sandstone up the side to the top. I think that looks quite nice to start with. Let's think about the top here now. This one uses stairs, but I don't want it to be quite as steep as this, so the incline here is just straight up. I think I'm going to use a slab on my one. So I'll pop that in there, and then just a normal block of sandstone in the center. I've copied the tower now across to the other side, and I was thinking about how this looks from the front, and I don't feel like there's enough contrast really between the top of the tower and the base. And looking at the symbol here in a bit more detail, you can see it's surrounded by smooth sandstone, and I want to try and capture some of that feature on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out these blocks here with smooth sandstone on both sides of the temple, like that. Last one there. And actually, yeah, I think that looks a lot better. We've got a bit more contrast between the base, the sides of the pillar, and then the top. It might be worth swapping a couple of these smooth sandstone blocks out with just normal sandstone, or a couple more of these chiseled blocks later on. So maybe one in here, and a couple of the others. That might be quite nice. Let's go ahead and copy this design around to the sides of the 2 towers. I'll do that now, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at the doorway in the middle and how we're going to fit that in. So here is our tower design so far. We've got the fronts now replicated on the side, just like on the normal temple, and I've started to pull the design round to the back, and we'll need to do something about this because this looks a bit strange at the moment, and on the back of these it's just flat normal sandstone. And you can notice over on this one I've done something slightly different because I wasn't absolutely convinced with this design, so I put back in a little bit of detailing with some normal sandstone, and this looks okay, but again, I'm still not sure. So if you let me know in the comments below what you think of these 2 designs, or the original design where we had just normal sandstone all the way up and down, that'd be really helpful, and then perhaps we can make a decision together on which one's the best. For now, I'm going to put the smooth sandstone back in there, and we'll start to get to work on the doorway. So if we look at this, we can see that it's recessed 1 block from the front, and I'd like to get that on here too. So let's put that in. It'll be there, and then the door will come out like this across the top. There is a lintel here, so let's put this in smooth sandstone, and then the detailing on top here is in orange wool. So that should be on the edges, and then a chiseled sandstone in the middle. Let me just take a sip of water. That's better. You really notice it when you've been talking for a while, your voice gets a bit hoarse. So across the top of here we've got smooth sandstone again, and down the sides. So let's put that in. And then we need to think about some detailing here, because this looks quite blocky for me. And I'd like this to be a little bit lower down so we can see the pyramid behind it. So I think probably we'll make a compromise here and put in some sandstone slabs. So they might go there like that. Perhaps a normal sandstone block in the middle just to create a little bit of height, and it would look something like that. You know what, it just occurred to me that we need to be able to run into the side of these towers. So if we want to get the stairs here going into the side of the towers and then up to the roof, we need to actually be able to get into the side of the tower here. And for us, that is this middle block, which is behind here. So this is going to have to go. Let's punch a hole in there and actually take out all of this stuff. So we would run in, and then we'd have stairs here running up to the roof. Let's punch those through on both sides. Then we can put in our new doorway, which will have to be forwards. So let's bring that out to there. And that's quite nice actually, because we've got this sort of flat open space here like that one. I'd quite like to move this back another block as well. Perhaps shove that back a whole other block. Maybe get some detailing here on the lintel. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and think about these stairs and do that in a little bit. So the stairs should start here or here, I think. And you would run up and then be up on the roof. Let's pop those in a couple of blocks. So let's have that. And if we come in here and run up, we're going to hit a head on this block here. So that one is going to need to go. This seems like a good natural level for the back roof. 3 blocks up. It's about halfway up the tower on the right hand side. And if we look at the temple back here, we can see this flat roof is about halfway up the temple as well. So I'm pleased with that. That seems to work okay. I'm going to pull this back along this side here. Just fill in underneath. And then we'll just drag this back along the right hand side, the rack hand side, don't know where that came from, and start forming the roof. Yeah, I'll go ahead and build this off camera, replicate this on that side, and then we'll have a think about these little creeper pillars on the inside, the normal pillars, and what we're going to do with this floor design. So here are the sides of our temple now. I've put the 2 sets of stairs in on the left, going up there, and on the right, so you can run up to the roof. And I think that's the next thing we need to tackle. And I want to bring the roof back so we have a 2x2 either closed or open space above what will be our drop shaft, because in this one, I think in the way that this one is 3x3 in here, you know, it's a odd number of blocks across the temple. Well, we're working with an even number, so our central drop shaft will need to be 2x2. So let's mark in where that might be, somewhere on this line basically, and where we have it will be determined by the roof. So let's have a go at the roof now. If we take a look at the sides here, we can see it comes back a little bit and then it starts stepping up to this small pyramid. And I think basically we're looking to create this 2 or 3 tier sort of pyramid on the top of our roof. So if we put in some normal sandstone here, bring this back a block, we've got 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then come across this way. We can then bring this up a block and it'll be 4 by 4. Run that back quickly. Ooh, on this side and the other side. And then up again, and this will be our 2 by 2 on the top. Yeah, so we've got our 2 by 2 now. So we could either have our drop shaft directly below here, or we could and leave it open, or we could put in the 2x2 cap like that and have that sort of towering above the front, just sort of in the background, which is kind of what it does here, but it's actually a little bit higher up. But in terms of scale, I think that looks okay. Let me know what you think about the skylight here, whether you want to leave it open or whether you think we should just close it off and have a bit more of a pyramid. I'd be interested to hear your kind of comments on that one as well. Before we move on to the next bit of completing the internals, I've decided I'm going to do a little bit more detailing on the front here. I don't feel like we've properly captured this different kind of stepping and levels we've got represented at the front of the temple. So I'm going to fiddle around with this a little bit and take out these two blocks on both sides here. Knock that one out and pop in 2 normal sandstone. And then bring this lintel forward a block to here. And then put 2 little pillars in there. Right, so we're back here on the inside of the temple. You can see I've added a little bit of detail to the floor here. I've knocked out those extra blue wool blocks that we had, put in some orange around the outside, and then I'm just going to pop in some smooth sandstone pillars here in the corners. So 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. And you can also see I've added in these little creeper face pillars on the left and right hand sides and created the walkways, and the passageways is down here that you can run around. We've actually managed to even get a bit more space at the back of the temple as well, which I'm really pleased with because I didn't think that would be possible. The next and the final job I'm going to do today is knock through here. We're going to go down to the base of the chunk here and start putting in the drop shaft and think about the TNT trap at the bottom. So I'll get rid of all this glass and then we'll come back at the bottom of here. So here we are now in the base of our chunk. You can see I've punched a hole all the way down to the bottom. I've put red wool in here to represent the TNT for now. Going to cap that off with smooth sandstone and throw down some pressure plates. We need to knock holes in the sides here and put our chests in to hold all our goodies and our loot. And then we need our creeper faces, the chiseled sandstone here in the back, and then a ring of smooth sandstone on the top to finish up. And I think that will be a pretty good representation of what we've got in the actual temple, which is over in that direction. The last thing that remains to do is to set the trap off, so let's fly up and come back down again and we'll see how that looks. Here we go. Kaboom! So yeah, that's a pretty big explosion. 4 TNT in the base there. It's knocked out all of the glass and most of the sandstone. Obviously, when we finish the final chunk, this glass will actually be sandstone and stone and other blocks. So the resistance of the area, the blast resistance, will be a lot more, and it won't blow up as big a space. And that is actually the next thing we need to go ahead and test. Unfortunately for you guys, I've done a final draft. So here is the final draft of the Desert Temple chunk. This is what it looks like. You can see the temple from the sides and the back. I've left the skylight hole in at the moment, although on these ones I've put it back on. Let's go ahead and take the tour. So we run in to the centre. We've got our 4 pillars here in the middle. We've got our creeper face little pillars here. We've even got a secret passageway down here to a hidden area, which you can find out more by playing the game. And then on the outside, if you run up the stairs, you can come up to the roof. And on the back here now, I've managed to add in another set of stairs. So you'll be over there defending your stronghold chunk. You might get out to your desert, and the guys in the other team coming in from this way will be able to get up onto the roof of your desert temple nice and easily, and we can get PvP battles going on in that space. Let's now go ahead and set off a couple of these traps. 2 TNT. 4 TNT. 8 TNT. Big boomer. Boom. Okay, well that was clearly just a bit of messing about with TNT at the end, and there was actually 32 TNT in the base of this chunk when I blew it up, and it's clearly far too big an explosion for our purposes, but that wasn't serious anyway. So let's go and look at the serious ones. This was the 8 TNT, and made quite a big explosion down here. I've already punched that hole through the sides, that wasn't there before, but you can see that this chest here, which used to be a double chest, there was another chest alongside it, did get popped. The resources were thrown all over the place and eventually despawned, and so that's no good. So we'll look at 4, which is in here. Again, the explosion on this one is a little bit too big for my liking. It did clear out more of the blocks than I would have liked. It damaged a lot of stuff here, which I don't want. It was getting a little bit too close to this chest, although it didn't break it. So I've ruled this one out as well. And I'm just going to test the 2 TNT explosion a few more times. I'm going to world edit in a couple more chunks like this, run that explosion and see if it works okay. And you can see here, the integrity of this chest is protected. The explosion didn't get really near it at all. And the integrity of the chunk as well, it looks really nice. And it does mean as the sun starts to set that we've come to the end of another day and another episode. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into the design of my new game Chunk Wars. I hope when I release it that you enjoy playing it. If you've got any feedback for me on the episode content or what I've built here, I'd really love to hear it, so do leave it down in the comments below. And hopefully I will see you all again next time. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye!